Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday, November 7th. Well, two big stories to talk about in terms of the weather over the next week or so. First of all, we'll have a couple of real cold shots for this time of the year. Some of the coldest weather we've seen so far this season. High temperatures this weekend in the I-95 corridor region of D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City should hold in the 40s for the most part on both Saturday and Sunday, well below normal for this time of the year. The daily normal high right now in Philadelphia, for example, is still hovering around the 60-degree mark, so we could be some 10 to 15 degrees below normal on Saturday and Sunday. Another cold shot arrives by the middle part of next week, and that will again be well below normal for this time of the year. In addition to the cold, we have not one but probably two more soaking rain events coming to the mid-Atlantic region. The first one will take place on Friday, and then in that transition between the initial cold shot this weekend and the midweek cold shot, looks like there could be another strong coastal storm early next week, maybe Monday, Tuesday time frame. That could result in additional soaking rain for the I-95 corridor region, and there could be enough cold air in place for that early next week storm for some snow in interior sections of the northeast U.S. And by the way, in terms of rainfall, we are headed for some very high numbers for the year. We've, of course, had a very active weather pattern, not only the last few weeks, but really much of the year with well above normal rainfall in much of the mid-Atlantic region. Places like Washington, D.C. have already reached the fifth wettest year on record. Pretty similar numbers in Philadelphia as well, and we still have, of course, a month and a half or so to go to the end of 2018. This is the 6 to 10 day outlook for temperature probability by NOAA, basically for next week. It's really for next Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday time frame, and they have for the entire eastern two-thirds of the nation very high probability of below normal temperatures. And again, we really have two cold shots coming to the eastern and central U.S. One this weekend, the first one, and then a second one by the middle part of next week. So really from this weekend on for several days, we will average out well below normal in the eastern half of the nation in terms of temperatures. Well, let's take a look at last night's Ensemble run of the GFS at 6Z in terms of 850 millibar temperature anomalies going forward for the next week or so, and we'll see these two outbreaks of way below normal air for this time of the year. First of all, starting off the day on Wednesday. Today will actually be a pretty decent day, pleasantly cool, high temperatures at or slightly above the 60-degree mark in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. Mostly sunny skies, and it should remain mostly sunny on Thursday, albeit a bit colder than today. Probably low to mid 50s for highs on Thursday afternoon. Let's push forward here. These maps available on tropicaltidbits.com, and here is the beginnings of that first cold blast in the northern plains by early Thursday. And at this time we have kind of a boundary zone setting up here between warmer air in the southeast U.S. and this very cold air mass in the northern plains, the upper part of the Midwest. This boundary zone here, this temperature boundary zone, indeed will feature a storm system. And we'll see that in a moment on the surface forecast maps. That storm brings another soaking rain event on Friday to this part of the country, the mid-Atlantic region. Let's keep moving forward here. Following that Friday storm, a cold blast arrives in Philadelphia, New York City, D.C., and throughout the much of the eastern half of the nation. Way below normal temperatures on Saturday and Sunday. This is Saturday morning. The 850 temperature anomalies well below normal over the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic region, and it stays cold on Sunday as well. And then you can kind of see the beginnings of a secondary shot, a reinforcing shot. This is the forecast map for Sunday afternoon. And watch what happens at this point in time. Once again, we have this boundary zone setting up here in the southeast U.S. by Monday. Warmer than normal air over the southeast U.S. Another cold shot to the northwest. This boundary zone will feature another storm system Monday, Tuesday time frame. That could produce some heavy rainfall in the I-95 corridor region. And with this first air mass, cold air mass in place, very well could be some snow in the interior sections of the Mid-Atlantic region, interior sections of the northeast U.S., and certainly higher elevation locations will be favorable for perhaps snow at both the onset of this early next week system and maybe at the end of the system by the middle part of next week. Let's keep moving forward here. That system passes on by Monday, Tuesday time frame and ushers in another very cold air mass for this time of the year by the middle part of next week. This is the forecast map for next Wednesday morning. This, by the way, is not the beginning of the sustained cold for the winter season. We certainly appear to be headed for some more warm air outbreaks during the second half of November and even going into December. Basically a bouncing back and forth pattern for the next few weeks, but at least 2 cold shots coming over the next 5 to 7 days or so. One this weekend and one by the middle part of next week. Well, let's now take a look at the surface forecast maps. This is from the 0Z GFS model run. Start off the day quite cool here in the Mid-Atlantic region, but not outrageously cold or anything like that. Basically pleasantly cool conditions this afternoon. These maps from tropicaltidbits.com. Let's move forward here. Actually turns a little bit colder overnight tonight into the day on Thursday. We'll shave off maybe 5 to 7 degrees or so from this afternoon highs to tomorrow afternoon highs. Both days should primarily be rain-free with plenty of sunshine both today and on Thursday. Then here we head into Friday morning. We talked about that initial shot of cold air setting up over the Midwest and Northern Plains on Friday. Meanwhile, still very warm across the southeastern U.S. and in between. That boundary zone is where precipitation will break out, and it looks like low pressure will form and along that boundary zone and produce perhaps some more soaking rain in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, primarily during the afternoon and evening hours on Friday. But yet another soaking rain event coming to an already well saturated portion of the country here in the Mid-Atlantic region. Again, this first rain event is on Friday. Then we get into the weekend. Strong northwest winds Friday night into Saturday morning usher in probably the coldest air of the season so far. High temperatures confined generally to the 40s, even in the big cities along the I-95 corridor region for Saturday and Sunday. There will be some lake effect snows with this weekend cold shot of air. Let's keep moving forward here. Very chilly conditions going into Sunday. And then we tend to have basically a repeat performance by Monday midday. Let's say we have another cold shot arriving in the northern plains, the upper Midwest, still warmer than normal across the extreme southeast, and in between that frontal boundary zone will feature some precipitation, and a strong low pressure system will form along the coast. And this time it'll have some cold air in place before the arrival of this storm system. That increases the chance for snow at the onset in places like the higher elevation locations of interior Pennsylvania, New York State. Again, this will be a little different bird here we're dealing with on Monday compared to Friday. By Monday, we'll have the cold air already in place from the initial shot coming this weekend. Let's keep moving forward here. That produces another soaking rain event for the I-95 corridor region and to the coast. Maybe some snow in higher elevation areas of interior Pennsylvania, New York. Certainly up in interior New England, expect some snow early next week. This is now Tuesday morning. That system winds up. Very strong system. Rain perhaps changes to snow on the backside of it, certainly across interior higher elevation sections of the western part of the Mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S., and then that finally moves by. Perhaps even some snow into the I-95 corridor region on the backside of this system by late Tuesday night time frame, and then that ushers in yet another very, very cold air mass for this time of the year by the middle part of next week. So a lot going on. 2 big stories over the next week here in the eastern U.S. 2 soaking rain events, Friday and perhaps Monday, Tuesday time frame. 2 shots of cold air, one this weekend and one by the middle part of next week. And that second storm system early next week will have cold air in place. That raises the chances for snow on the front end, in higher elevation, interior locations, and even on the back end as that second shot of cold air pushes into the I-95 corridor region. There is a chance for a changeover to snow on the backside of that system in the early to middle part of next week. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.